example, why an owner is labeled not owners of record? What were the criteria for defining?
Okay. There were some, first of all, I do want to state that I visited our, I don't know what to call it, the deed room, the record room. I visited our record room. And there were people on here, oh, I'll give you a good example. There were people on here, which proves, I guess, how long this petition was laying around. There were people on here that moved in April. Now, this petition was submitted in October. They're not valid, they're not the owner of record. I didn't have to write that they moved. They're not the owner of record. Obviously, the apartments were sold and there are new owners of record. There are other people who signed the petition, and perhaps some of them thought they were the owner of record, but upon checking the deeds, they were not the owner of record. And I'll give you an example, not of anyone's name. In some instances, and people may forget, well, in some instances, some people could be living together, and so the girlfriend or the boyfriend signs and think they own and they don't. In some instances, I could own something.
So you're saying they're not on the deed?
No, they're not on the deed.
But they can't have a power of attorney.
We're not discussing that. That's another subject, and I'll respond to that. In other instances, I own my apartment now. I could get married, and my new husband may think he owns the apartment, but I didn't put him on the deed.
And so how many?
There were other instances where people own the apartment and then transferred it to for a dollar to someone else in their family, and they might have forgotten. But they're not the owner of record.
By owner of record, you mean only owners identified in GTCA records, but not necessarily in legal records?
No, I'm talking legal records, legal documentation from the town of Guttenberg.
Were legal records available?
Yes, legal records. Not for all of these. As a matter of fact, there could be even more non-owners of record. I only have 20.
So where was your primary source of record? Was it in the Galaxy, not legal records?
Well, those are legal records. They were deeds.
Yes,
I'm talking about the actual deeds.
But then that might be old. How would you know?
Yes, they could be old deeds. Everyone knows if someone moved or if they changed the deed. I can't ascertain whether all of the deeds are up to date. I did check everyone where there was a question as to whether they were the owner of record, and I do have records from the town, which are not here with me.
What led you to question the owners of record?
Two things. First of all, when I went into our record room, which is a little bit dusty, and I unlocked all of those huge files, I noticed we were missing lots of records. We were missing lots of deeds. I started going through all of these, and we're missing lots of deeds. I subsequently found 3 humongous catch basins of deeds that had come in over a couple of months only. So it's good to know people are on top of this. And they were put on top of the cabinets that needed to be filed. So I sat down with an employee of the Galaxy here in the office, and we went through each one, hoping I could find my answers in them, and I did. So those were really up to date.
And I'm not done. I'm going to not just old ones sitting up on top.
No,
of the
they were new. These were all since.
Outdated.
Well, no, these were all since Jan van Bergen. I was told actually, I believe they were just for 6 months or less when they stopped filing. It used to be kept up front, and they stopped filing and put them in the back.
Were these deeds dated?
Well, every deed is dated.
Right, but you said that when you said that they were the more recent deeds, these had a more recent date than the deeds in the file?
These were things that hadn't been filed in the past couple of months. So most of these were things that came in where I could have had a deed that I executed in 1986, but I sold it to Judith for $1, or I sold it to my corporation for $1. They're all filed now, one would hope. The other thing that led me to this is I received challenges from people who were on the recall. Actually, it was presented to me, and this also led me to that, and these deeds were supplied to me by the town of Guttenberg, which I have, but not with me.
You had a mixture of records, some from the GTCA of unknown age, some that had not been filed yet, which were assumed to be more recent.
They were more recent.
How did you know that?
Because I was told these were recent documents that came in and were not filed. Yes, they were all dated.
And they were all recent dates?
Barbara, should this ever happen again, I'd be more than happy to give this to you to sit in the room and go through all of the deeds.
Please.
Are you questioning my procedure?
No, thank you much, Gail. Gail, thank you. Thank you.
The procedure you use, that's all. I'm trying to
Thank you. Yes, Frank.
I have some other questions.
Oh, please, Barbara,
Were there any
continue.
duplicates among the names eliminated? Did you eliminate people for more than one reason? Because I remember in the
Yes,
first
my
report you
origin-
gave, you did.
Okay, I'll answer you. The
Please look at
numbers
me.
remain,
Please, Gail,
the
look at
numbers
me and answer
remain
to
the
me.
same. I couched the report differently and made it easier for people to understand. My original report, this chart was made by the accounting office, and they did the assessments, and I did the rest of the work, and Bob actually verified this again. This is sorted by petition, by page number of the petition. So originally, there's a valid yes column and a valid no, and there are other columns. There's your unit and your name, your ownership status, arrears, yes, no, validity, unknown, withdrawn name, duplicates, comments. Now, you could be in the column that says you don't know, maybe because you didn't know. You're also in arrears. And by the by, you also change your mind and withdrew your name. However, I only marked you not valid once. So last time, my not valid numbers were the same. But when people added up the columns, it was like, oh, it doesn't match. So I said, people are having a hard time understanding this. So I redid the chart, redid the numbers. The first line is to take people who don't own. If they're not the owner of record, you take them off the board. It doesn't matter whether they're in arrears. They don't own it. I know the apartment's in arrears or not, but they don't own, so you throw them away. After checking, of course. The next is the unknown. You look at those that are unknown and try to find out if they're known. Some of the unknowns were because they didn't sign the petition. They were immediately invalid. They were unknown. The name could have been clear, but they decided not to sign. I put them under unknown. And I would put the reason no signature. Procedure in 2007 and the discussion in the August 15th minutes and with the members of the board and the attorneys, it was established by, I believe, Mr. Buckaloo, that clear and concise unit identification and name identification be made. So that was the second. I did the unknowns. Then the next thing was of those non-duplicates, taken where the duplicates, of course, were first, as I said. So you take off the people who don't own, the people who you don't know who the heck they are, and now you go to the arrears.
I have a question about what...
Please, Barbara, you finished, Gail? You finished talking?
Well, she
Barbara,
has a
you
question,
just asked the
so-
question. You would not want Gail to finish completely? You have another
Well,
question?
she was...
Let me stop you
finishing
for a
up,
second. You will be able to continue. Do we have any questions for Mr. Forfa? He was involved in the process. Perhaps you can tell us what certification and what knowledge do you have or you don't have, so we can send him home because he is very tired. He's been here since 7 or 6:30 in the morning.
No,
Directors,
I
would
have
you
no
like to ask
question.
Mr. Forfa
No, I have
what
no
part he
question.
took? Would you confirm
Yes, I worked
certification?
with Gail and quite a few times, sitting down, going through the numbers,
Sounds annoying.
going through, you know, the data. She explained everything, you know, how to do, what the procedures she took in verifying the names. I've gone through all the duplicates with her and pointed out, you know, here was a duplicate, we verified. We basically counter-checked each other through all the processes.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask Bob a question. The arrears, when is somebody in arrears? Can you establish, is it 30 days, 15 days, just to?
After you get a bill, if I charge you $100, you get a statement, okay? And after the statement's due and it's the 10th of the month, you're in arrears.
So
Okay.
anything that's late, it's arrears.
Anything that's late, anything that's over,
No, I just want to understand how the arrears
Yeah.
are.
That's a good question. So anything that's late is
anything
arrears?
that's over, if your bill is due on the 10th of the month,
Don't do on the first of the month.
first of the month, okay, and you come in on the 10th of the month, 12th of the month, 13th of the month, you get hit with a late charge, you're in arrears.
So, but some of these people here, if they paid by the 10th, they're still in arrears because they didn't.
No.
Didn't
No,
only after the 10th.
yes.
Okay.